unfortunate. I know like a man built a house out of tires once. It was fine initially, but then the smell of like the decaying petroleum and all of that just overwhelmed the house, so he moved out of it.
Well, I know years ago, like when I was in high school, they were starting to tear them up and make like running tracks out of them. So I
Okay.
think at a certain point, you probably have all the running tracks covered. Then what?
Yeah, and I don't know. It's market driven too. I don't keep up with the tire markets, but apparently there's just not a need for waste tires right now in our state.
May something shift where they're needed again.
Yeah. Workshops, uh, you know, we spend a little bit of money on those, our art contests, recycling, commercial trash and recycling program, marketing and software. No software expenses this year. We found out that a few years ago when we implemented the commercial side that we already are set up for anything we need in Tyler in order to integrate billing. It would be more of a staff component. And so that's not included in this program budget. We don't include staff time.
Okay.
Commercial trash recycling program. So usually that's just marketing. So last year we bought stickers for all the businesses, and we'll probably do that again along with some promotional materials, composting buckets that they can leave in the business, different types of bins. HHW, again, it's mainly postage and marketing materials, although so far the county has reimbursed us the postage expenses when we do billing inserts for HHW events. And then miscellaneous marketing, our school outreach, that's primarily Mr. Eco. And service organization donations, that's primarily the bins we pay for High Desert Keepers. And then anybody else who puts in for a donation where we can find a nice tie-in with solid waste, we will deduct it from this fund. So one year we sponsored a separate community cleanup with Chaparral High School. So that was nice.
Nice.
Awesome. It looks good.
Yeah. And the way we did that is a donation. They can get what they needed.
They can decide what they need.
Yeah. So that's it. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts or comments on this. We typically don't spend anywhere near what's here.
Right.
No, it looks good. It looks good, and I know the involvement in the community definitely makes a difference on the numbers that we're getting, and preparing the businesses for what's coming in July is important.
Yes. Yeah. And CR&R has been really helpful with that. So I know Belinda's been meeting with the businesses about the SB 1383 component. So we appreciate it.
Awesome. Does it look good to you?
Yep. I don't think we need to make any changes there.
I think we move it on to the board.
Okay.
Review of 22-23 solid waste CIP and program budget. We did that. Okay, now review of draft franchise agreement amendment.
Okay, so the franchise amendment that was put in the packet yesterday evening, I received back the red line version from CR&R. So I posted it on the handout site. And so let's go ahead and reference that one. You guys should have copies in front of you. And for those of you following along at home, if you go to the agendas and minutes page, if you look under handouts, you can see it. The changes that came back from CR&R were pretty minor. So I was going to go, but why don't we go ahead and just start from the beginning? And if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know.
Okay.
So basically, this is an amendment to our existing franchise agreement in order for CR&R to have the operating component for complying with SB 1383. So this is basically us stating, how it's going to work. A big chunk of this is definitions, and most of these are pulled directly from the state.
Yeah,
So,
like the first several pages is
Yeah.
pretty much the glossary.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can see like we're referencing the California code in a lot of these definitions. They're pretty thorough. So if you, the first few pages, so until you get down to
It's like page.
page
Well, I know
All
it's
right,
changed,
so,
small
page
changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so page 8, you'll see there's a number 2. It says exclusive franchise agreement. And so we're eliminating some things that are no longer applicable, like green waste. We're not using that term anymore. And then we get into the specific requirements for operations, procurement, containers. So, and you can see the blue lines indicate the CR and R change. So like in C, 5C containers, they added lid of each new container just to specify that new containers are going to have appropriate lid.
And then I also noticed changing things like contractor to customer.
Right.
Yeah. Cleaning up the language a little bit.
Yeah.
So when we say new, we're meaning new customers from now forward, and they're not changing them for prior customers?
So this is new container.
Okay.
So as the containers age out, are damaged or replaced, or if it's a new customer that is getting a new container, it would be new containers, not necessarily customers.
Okay.
So the containers go missing, get damaged, and so as they're replaced, they will be replaced with compliant lids.
So it allows us to have what we currently have and not have to go replace everything.
Right. Not until 2036 do all of them need to be compliant, but I'm sure by then our bins will probably be pretty beat up and will be due for replacement anyway. So we'll just make sure that they're compliant with the state law.
Okay.
So that's having the uniform kind of color scheme throughout the state. Because right now it's up to the local jurisdiction really what colors they want to use. You have some cities where they don't want to see the trash cans or recycle bins, and so they're neutral tones, so they blend in with wherever they're put, rather than this big giant green or blue or black or gray or whatever bin. So that's going away. So that way, when people move from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, it's very clear which bin is for what. So it's basically some state uniformity.
Okay.
Aesthetics don't matter anymore. And then, did you say something? Oh, Cheryl, you're unmuted.
I have questions whenever I can.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
go ahead and jump in.
Okay. It isn't clear to me how soon we're going to switch to this new system. Because so when is that envisioned?
Brent, you want this one?
You're garbled, I'm sorry.
She wants to know when we have to implement all these dates by, when we'll be applying them. Could you fill her in?
So when we're gonna get the new bin colors, you mean?
When we start the recycling program, which I wholeheartedly support.
We'll first be applying it to the businesses and getting them in place, and then following with the residents. So we're doing the smallest group first, and then moving on to the larger, and using the smaller to sort of put in place the system we'll use on the larger.
Do you have a concept of a timeline for that?
What are we
rollout?
looking at for Kimberly?
Okay, so as it says, when we get new containers, to the best of our ability, given the current supply chain issues and the fact that every single jurisdiction in the state is also needing to purchase containers. We're going to do our best to get them implemented as soon as possible in an economically feasible way. Because obviously, if we tried, let's just say all of the containers were available at this moment, if we tried to replace every single container, that would be very, very, very expensive. Plus, some of our containers are perfectly fine. They may just need a sticker at this point or just some other labeling. So rather than disposing of those, which is not environmentally friendly, we're going to let them, live out their life cycle. We have until 2036 to replace them all. But you'll start seeing changes here and there, especially as the containers get changed out through wear and tear or theft.
All right, and is this envisioned that everyone, a lot of people currently use the dump? Are they going to continue to do that? Or is everyone going to have service?
So in order to comply with SB 1383, every residence is going to have uniform collection. So they're all going to have it. The dump cards will go away. That's not going to happen in this calendar year. It's going to be next year.
Okay. So I have both cart service and dumpster service at home. So I'm just trying to figure out how this is going to apply to me and generally. Will dumpsters be limited as to what you put in them?
Yeah, you're going to not be able to put recyclable material or organic material in the dumpster. So you'll have to have, probably, since you're a resident, you could have a cart for organics and you can have a cart for recyclables, but you can probably continue to have your trash dumpster.
Right. And will you be able to put it? I noticed that the language speaks to pet waste, but it doesn't mention manure except in the first large 73 odd page. So can you put manure in both your dumpster or in a particular can?
Well, definitely don't put it in the recycle bin.
No. That's a question. Can you do both then?
Brent, you want to answer that one? You're muted.
My battery's going to die here on my computer too. We're currently looking at that. It depends upon the processor that we take it to as to what they're going to do with the manure. At this time, at the time of implementation, we will have an answer for you on that. At this moment, I can't tell you where that will be going.
So, okay, my question was, I'm sorry, Kim. And my question was,
go ahead, Cheryl.
My question to clarify was, will we be putting it in a can or in the dumpster, or can we put it in either?
At this point, at this time, I do not have a processor for that material. If you were to ask me what you're going to do with it today, it would go in your solid waste. It would go to the dump. I'm hoping to get a processor that will actually recycle that material. So that's what I'm working on now. So then it would go into a separate container for recycling.
Yeah, so
Make sense?
Yeah, if we have our digester project up and running that Circle Green is working on, manure would potentially be able to go into the organics bin.
Got it.
So that's where your food waste, the manure, anything that could be digested would go in there. But we're just not sure at this point with our given outlets where it's going to go. And so that's why we're not implementing the mandatory, separation and service right now, because we still have some things to figure out. And so we need some time. And then, of course, when it happens, we'll be educating everyone on what goes into what.
Great. On the rates, attachment C is the 2019 rates. We're already ahead of that in terms of our rates.
You're talking about the franchise agreement?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not amending that right now. We're talking about the amendment, not the actual agreement.
There's a distinction I'm not following. I'm sorry.
So the franchise agreement was put in there for reference for this amendment's purposes. We're going to obviously have to develop a new rate schedule for
it's not there yet.
Yeah, for both commercial and residential based on if this amendment is adopted.
Okay. Great. Are we still going to have bulky item pickup 2 free a year?
Yep,
I don't know if that's in the agreement or not.
It is.
And then on definitions, on page 72, the bold 72.
72 of what? The packet?
Of the packet. Well, not the new one, the packet, yeah. Page 72 in definitions. It refers to a tax lot in number EE.
72 of the packet?
Page 72, bold page 72,
Mhm.
the packet, and it's in definition
Oh,
section.
wow.
Item EE.
Mhm.
It says, it refers to single tax lot. Should that be assessor's parcel map number, or is there a reason why it says tax lot?
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, it's, if you want to change it to a
Yeah,
single
it's up to you.
lot.
If the legal definition is assessor's parcel map.
Yeah.
That's it. Other than, there's nothing in there about missed pickups and how you handle refunds, and you do handle them. You're great. I think CNR is terrific. I think your service is terrific, and I think your people, every time I deal with them, are just terrific.
Missed pickups is in the franchise agreement, not in the amendment. The amendment is just specifically addressing SB 1383 related items. So if you look in the regular franchise agreement, like, sorry, I don't have it off the top of my head, there is a section in there about missed pickups and what happens. They try to get out there the next day.
Okay, maybe I can connect with you later and you can
Yeah.
find that for me.
Are you having a problem with missed pickups?
No, I didn't, well, not to make a complaint about. How about that?
Okay.
Things have been difficult lately for everyone.
Yeah.
And your guys are great. I didn't see it, so if it wasn't there, I was gonna suggest it should be there. And if it's there, then I just need to look at it and that can go away. That's just a comment.
Yeah, no problem. It's in there. I can forward you the section.
Yeah, oh, that'd be great. No rush and thank you. And that's it. Thanks very much.
So thank you for your input. It's very helpful.
For amendment real quick, did you guys have any questions about anything in here?
No, the updates make sense. They make the language flow a little easier in it.
The only outstanding thing I have is, so Steve Kennedy looked at this before CR and Art created the red lines. But again, the red lines are pretty minor, so he's gonna look through those. The section that I needed to talk about was just to bring your attention to, hold on, let me find it.
Well, I noticed under section 5, Roman 5, the changing from 15 to 30 working days, things like that. Are those are those within the parameters that we still need to remain? That'd be my only concern on that piece.
Right?
What page is that?
Page 19 of the update. On section, Roman 5, section B and C. It mentions 15 days changed to 30, 5 changed to 15, and then in C it said 10 to 30.
Oh yeah, this is if the service level is gonna change. They have 30 days in order
30
to.
days. Yeah, yeah.
Not
Okay.
10. Because sometimes we can't get, well, CR&R can't
Changes in 10
get
days, right.
a
Okay,
new
that makes
bin
sense.
or whatever in 10 days.
I just
It
want
just
to make
gives
sure
us
we're
up
within
to
the
30 days.
parameters the state allows, so.
I'm trying to find my section. I'm sorry, I'm working at home unexpectedly this week. Thank you, Rona. So I don't have my papers in front of me. 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, so on page 10 of the amendment, the section 8, district election provide billing services. You'll notice that that rate is left blank for the moment. We need to figure out what it's going to actually cost the district to provide that billing component and come up with a rate that's supported by the staff time and everything related to that. And so we're looking somewhere, between $1 and $2. Hellendale charges $2 at the moment. That doesn't necessarily mean anything to us. I don't know how they got to that, but I do know they, in addition to just billing, they also have a service component that their staff handles. Like they go out and they give the new customers their bins or replacement bins, and then they go pick up the bulky items. So I don't know if, I know that we don't want to do that. We don't have the staff for it. And their territory, you have to remember, looks vastly different than ours.
Yes, it
They're
does.
very, very, very small.
A large section of their district is close together. And they may have some outliers, but it's very compact for the bulk of it.
Yeah, our staff driving, 128 square mile district to pick up bulky items and deliver things, I don't know if that's going to be the most economically advantageous thing to us, but definitely CR&R knows how to do that. I'm not recommending that, but I am recommending the billing, that at some point we elect to take that over, just because we have that ability to put unpaid fees on the tax rolls, and it would just be an easier process if we're already doing the billing. So
Makes sense.
at this point in time, service for residences with CR&R is, it's a courtesy, it's an option.
It's an option,
They don't have to subscribe to it. And so the remedy if they quit paying is Brent takes their service away. So once we say that, hey, we have this law to comply with, you need to have service and you need to be disposing of your organics in a certain way and recycling and getting rid of your trash in this way, it becomes a required service, and they can't just quit paying for it and make it go away. It's just like people who try to quit paying their water bill, even though they're not living there. They don't understand that they still have, the meter fee and any usage, even though they're not living there. They think that we might just come out and take away the meter and they're done with us.
Nope.
That's not how it works. There's a whole process they have to go through if they want to, have their meter removed. And so this is similar in a sense that you can't just not pay to get out of having this service. So if you choose not to pay, you're still going to have service. It's just going to end up being collected on the tax rolls. Interestingly, Adelanto, I heard they now charge all of their solid waste fees. They don't even do billing. They just do like a assessment on the tax rolls for trash service, because I guess they're having such a hard time with, a lot of transitory people coming in and not paying the bills. And so it's just easier.
Have it tied permanently to
Interesting.
tie it
do it
permanently
that
to the tie it permanently to the property.
Yeah. So that way they're guaranteed payment at some point.
Yeah.
So they're not having to, track down property owners and all of that. But again, we still have a lot of work to do. So the next step after this will be bringing back the ordinances, I should say. And coming up with new ones in order to talk about that uniform residential collection and the enhanced service for commercial customers. So that's next.
Okay. Does it look good to you from what we've gone over?
Yeah, everything seems fine.
It
So
all seems to-
we just, at this point, we approve it, and then Mr. Kennedy's going to take one more look at it.
Yeah, he's looking at it now.
Okay.
This is going to go to the board meeting next week, so it'll be in this week's packet for the board to actually look at. So you'll see a clean version. You won't see any red lines.
Okay.
There might be something Mr. Kennedy has that he might suggest, and definitely we'll keep track of that for CR&R.
Great.
Okay. Do we have a review of action items?
I have just one question.
Oh, yes.
Just, you were going to send that to Mr. Kennedy for his review, and then you'll send it back to CR&R. That's correct, right, Kim?
Yeah, if he has any changes, he's already looked at this once before you made your changes. So he's just looking at your red lines now.
Okay, and I just sent you an email. I have one other change on there that my legal counsel also wanted to add. So give that to Mr. Kennedy and then we can look at it. It's minor.
Okay, yeah, and then like I said, this goes to the board and then the board will be reviewing it and discussing it next week.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Right?
So now on to the review of action items. Do we have any?
Now we have one to look at the feasibility of the district thrift store with the holidays and everything. We really haven't made much headway in that. I know Amy's put in a few calls to the local thrift store and they have not been returned. So we'll start that again this month, just to kind of figure out what it is they're doing and where the material comes from that they sell. And perhaps there's something we could do solid waste wise, you know, with bulky items or something. But
some of my curiosity is what do they do with items that don't move? Because just like any other store, you're going to have items that just won't move. What do you do with those items after the fact? And how they're dealing with those problems?
I don't know. This might be like a good board member action item. Maybe you go in and since we're not having good luck talking on the phone, you can go in as an individual to them or, you know, a board member to them and, you know, ask those questions. I mean, they're great questions.
We can catch them open too.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're like never open. So, well, at least thought when I go by.
Generally, when I go by, the same thing. So we'll hopefully pin them down and ask, hey, what type of rotation of items do you have? What? And at least if we can get them to call you back even at that point.
Yeah, and like again, I don't know anything about the thrift store business, so we have some work to do. I know it works for Hellendale just because they had that existing space. Again, very geographically, they're small, and they do bulky item pickup. So that's kind of how they can stock it. So it works for them. I'm just not quite sure how
it would work for whether it would work for us or not.
It would work for us. So maybe there's just something else we could do, partnering with the existing thrift store, perhaps, but or maybe just outreach to our customers. Hey, don't you know, do a bulky item pickup for this. Call the thrift store and see if they want it. I don't know. There's lots of ideas, you know, ways to tackle that.
That would be another way of doing it, is just mentioning, don't forget donations to thrift stores or something along that line.
Yeah. In lieu of having CR&R pick it up, you could donate this, whatever. So this is weird because Brent is frozen on one screen. But now he's in front of a truck on another.
That was creepy.
Yeah.
That was a
little weird. My battery died on my laptop. Unfortunately, Belinda's here in my office, so I picked up on hers. I did have one question before we close, so I don't know how to question with those. And it was to Kim. I don't know if you have a new timeline as far as 1383 implementation. I don't know if you revised anything from our last timeline that I had. If so, if you could send me one.
Yeah.
Just I want to make sure that I'm still current with that. Also, regarding SB 619, I know that's the basically asking for basically a delay in implementing. Where are you on that? I mean, I know that there's a deadline of March 1st to submit that.
Yeah, working on it.
Okay, I know it's a lot. I know that there was a webcast today that kind of outlined everything. You're probably well versed on that and you're up to date on all of that. The one thing I did see on that was that it did require a board resolution also. So I'm not sure where we were on that. So I wanted to be kept in the loop, if you would, please, just so that I make sure that I've got everything prepared as we move forward.
If I send you the timeline, I think you'll be comfortable because it does address making sure I get the extension into the state in time.
All right, I have total confidence in you, Kim. Thank you.
Okay, next agenda for the meeting of March 10th.
So I think we can remove the roles and responsibilities and we can remove the, of course, this draft franchise agreement and also the CIP barring anything coming up. That's going to be going to the board for workshops.
Okay.
So, but I will hopefully be calling a special meeting before March to go over the ordinances.
That fun piece.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Okay, well, I think we're done. It was nice seeing you, Brent, and
Uh,
we'll
Happy to
see
see you all. Hopefully we can all get together soon again. Oh,
And
Well,
Cheryl,
I'm
thank
good
you.
now. The Rona got me, and
oh
I'm
yeah, yeah, it
done.
got our household too. So yeah, we've had it here at the yard also. So back to Cheryl's comments about missed services, Cheryl. I mean, we are fighting it with COVID here with our drivers. Kim mentioned the fact of trying to get carts. We're having problems even getting parts for our truck still. So we're having some issues with the COVID and being able to get supplies and drivers and everything. So bear with us. We'll do the best we can. And Cheryl, I'm always available. My number's out there. If you have any questions, please give me a call.
You-
Thank you so much. I think your service is terrific, and I'm looking forward to us recycling.
Me too. Thank you.
Me too. I love her.
Right.
I want to let Cheryl know, thank you for attending our meetings. It really means a lot. I wish more public would, because they'd understand a lot more.
I can work on that for you.
I think it's better they come in and ask questions than to just guess.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Okay. Bye.
See ya next week.
I don't know where your kill is.
See you next week.